surprised and don't be terrified. I'm not a fighter by nature. But you know what? I'm also not a professional football player. I'm also not a great basketball player. What I do like is how these athletes train. And I like how fighters train because you know what? When you look at a fighter, they're ripped, they're shredded. And the reason they are is because they put so much emphasis into rotation. And that rotation comes because they work on punching. You know, punching is the huge rotational movement. It's a rotational power movement that is driven from the upper body, and we don't have a lot of those. You know, sprinting is like that as well, and you can combine up sprinting and boxing or sprinting and punching. So my point is this: you don't need to be the athlete to train like the athlete. All right? Learn from them. And that's what I've done for years. That's why resistance bands are so exciting to me, because they allow me to train like the athlete. Let's take punching as an example. I want to show you today 3 ways that you can enhance your punching power if that's something you're interested in doing. And if you're not interested in punching, no big deal. Still use it as a training technique to develop your core, to develop your lower extremity, upper extremity integration, to develop your upper body explosiveness and quickness, and to work on balance and control. Because you know and I know, all of those things are consistent with what a fighter who fights professionally has to have. So let's get into the lab and let me take you through 3 ways you can go ahead and enhance your punching today. First way you can go ahead and work on punching is just with a simple single band. I've got a red band here, and one of the things you want to remember is this. If you're going to work on punching and your goal is to work on punching speed, you're going to go smaller band. So that's important. The other thing is to make sure that the band has tension on the system before you start to punch so that there's no jerking. Alright, so when you go to explode, there's already a little tension on the band. Let's take a single band and let me show you how I'm going to set that up for punching. I'm going to slide my hand through the band and I'm going to hook it onto between my index finger and my thumb. That's going to allow me to go ahead and make a fist so I can simulate punching. I'm going to then take it around my back, and I'm going to kind of put a little bit of slack in the system so I can do the same thing on this side. Now I drop it back and I position it right onto my shoulder blades. Alright, now I'm set up so I can go ahead and work on punching. Now the thing is, from here, because I've shortened up the band, I'm getting resistance already at that moment. So I can go ahead and work on punching in either direction as I'm working on it. And you can go ahead and make this a cardiovascular exercise. You can go ahead and make it a step exercise. You can make it a squat or a punch exercise. You can go ahead and do whatever you want because you know what? It's attachment free, so you can go anywhere you want with this. The key thing is this: make sure you have tension on the system. If you want to go heavy, take the band and hook it down here on your hip. Now the tension is really locked in, so I've got to really push hard. Alright? If I want to go ahead and put it even more, I can bring it around even more. So now I can really have to work on my power. My recommendation is put on your shoulder blades and let's go 3 minutes and see how you feel. Second way you can work on punching is to go ahead and generate the power from your hips. And what I've done is I've hooked the band up to my hips. So I've got a hip attached situation with a single band. I've got my band utility strap hooked onto the bar so that I can go ahead and reach out a little bit more. Now I've only got 1 band here, so if I want to go ahead and work on punching, I'm going to work on, in this case, just using 1 arm. I'm going to put myself in a punching position and I'm just going to work on that single arm. Now you could go ahead and bring back the single band setup that I showed you previously and do the same thing. In this case, I just thought I would show you this in setup. Now I like the handle on this because I can squeeze the handle and make a really good fist. If all I have is the band, it makes it a little bit more difficult to create a really solid fist. So I'm going to put it right there and I'm going to work at punching with my right, and then I'm going to bring it around. I'm going to work on punching with my left. Now, look at the integration. Yeah, look at the integration. I've got to bring my right foot forward to work on a left hand punch. If I go staggered, I can step into it. Alright? If I want to go ahead and punch, let that foot come back, step into it. There's so many ways that you can start integrating. And the reason I like this is because proprioceptively. If I put tension on the system, it's going to make me drive from my hips. So now when I go to push, my hips are already on board before I even go to punch. And it's a great way to go ahead and stimulate what's called a feed-forward system that our body has that we use all the time. Engage your hips first. Put that band around and start punching. You don't want to use a band, put the gloves on and let's start punching in a real bag. That's fine. But by getting the band around your hips, you're going to see that your hands are going to get quicker. This last way to work on punching, we're going to utilize our blocking or our pulling reflex to go ahead and stimulate our punching reaction. Let me show you what I mean. You know, when you look at people that go ahead and work on punching, especially in the martial arts, they work on blocking with their opposite hand so they can go ahead and create power through their punching hand. Well, with bands, it's so easy to set that up because I can put a band behind me and put a band in front. So you've seen me do this before. I can just work on reciprocal punching. Now I'm going to change my foot around so I can work on rotational punching as well. I lost my balance. See what I mean? You got to work on balance. You got to be on your balls, your feet, working punching. Now you want to emphasize a real aggressive punch. Go ahead and put this hand here, but emphasize how quick can you pull? How quick can you pull? And that's what you're working on. The faster you pull here, the faster you're going to punch. And now step into it. Work on it, bang. Work on control, bang. You can go ahead and get it in a lot of ways. You can go ahead and even get on the balls of your feet and punch. And work on punching and pushing. Hey, guys, reciprocal training incorporated. Not only is it going to go ahead and get your punching better, guys, you're going to love what it does to your trunk. Because anytime we're driving forces from the bottom up and the top down, guess what's got to work overtime? Our trunk. And you've heard me hear that. You've heard me say that thousands of times. So there's 3 ways you can go ahead and enhance your punching strength, if that's your goal, or just get a great workout in using punching, using bands.